Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us for this Tuesday talk. I am interviewing Brady Schwab today. He is our Chief Growth Officer. Before we get started, Brady, I'd like to cover some housekeeping items for our audience that have joined us on this live webinar. So if you are joining us live, thank you. But we love audience participation. So depending on how your Zoom screen is set up, either at the top or bottom of your screen, there is a Q&A button. So click on that button and you can type in a question. So as Brady and I are visiting over the course of the next half hour, anything that comes up, anything that comes to mind, please type in the question. I will make sure that I get it asked and then answered over the course of the next 30 minutes. Okay, so let's get started. Brady, if you would please introduce yourself to our audience.
Yeah, thank you, Jen. My name is Brady Schwab. I'm the Chief Growth Officer here at Right at Home, and I've been a part of this great organization for just over 2 years. My background is actually in hearing healthcare, so I was an audiologist, testing hearing, raise your right hand, raise your left hand, all of that stuff that everybody remembers going back to grade school. But really working primarily with seniors and with the selection and fitting of hearing aids. And then I worked for a hearing aid manufacturer in a bunch of different roles. But really, the core of my my experience has been around business development, sales, really around how to help people age in the fashion that they want, manage the existing capabilities that they have to do everything that they want to be able to do. So home care was really a natural fit for me. I love what I get to do, and I love the organization I get to do it as a part of. So happy to be here.
Awesome. Okay, so first question. Knowing that our audience, either join us live right now or listening to this on a recorded basis, the audience are people who are interested in joining the Right at Home system as franchise owners. And as described with everyone who works here at Right at Home Corporate, we all have the same job, and it's to help and support and guide our franchise owners to help them build a sustainable business that they can have for years and years. So knowing you as the Chief Growth Officer, innovation is a big part of that, partnerships, all the things that you do here at Right at Home. Can you give some examples of here are some of the things that we identified as innovative solutions for our franchise owners and how those things are implemented or researched, or just give our audience some insight into some of the things that you're working on to help and support them as franchise owners.
Yeah, great. And when I think of my role and my responsibility to the organization, both the brand as well as franchise owners, it's really how do we expand the impact of Right at Home, and that happens kind of in two different directions. I like to think of it. One is our horizontal expansion. How do we plant more flags? How do we have a Right at Home office closer to more and more seniors throughout the U.S. and frankly the world, because we are in 5 other international markets. So that's a key part of our growth strategy. But then there's also kind of the vertical growth, and within each of those offices, how do we think about how we can be more impactful, more effective, more efficient, and how can we bring more value to the services that we offer under the Right at Home umbrella? So when we think about that from an innovation standpoint, there's a couple different camps that innovation can kind of sit in, and some is really the sexy, bright and shiny, more inventing new things, and that is certainly a kind of innovation that occurs. But there's this other opportunity of continual improvement. How do we bring more value to the things that we do? How do we attach and combine things in different ways that can create a lot of value? So some of the focus from the innovation standpoint is really around bringing technology and technology-enabled care. I will say this repeatedly and to anybody, I don't think that human caregiving is going to go out of style anytime soon, and that comes from a couple of different lenses. One is having worked with seniors for a long time in my career and really sitting knee to knee with them. I just don't believe as people that as we get older, we want less people. I think we want more. We want more human contact. We want more connection. So there's that piece of it. The other piece is, personal care is really personal, and it's really dynamic. It's I think really hard to bring a lot of technology that pushes those pieces out. That said, we know that there are, just as we look at society, there aren't enough workers, there aren't enough people of working age to be able to meet the need in the traditional sense of all the home care needs that will exist in the future. So we have to bring technology into the mix. And I think of technology enabling care rather than technology replacing care. So some of the ways that we're doing that and some of the things that we're really tinkering with now is how do we bring remote monitoring into care? How do we have eyes and ears in the home when a caregiver isn't in the home or a family member isn't providing care? And this is a challenge that people have been really working on for a long time. And one of the realities that we're seeing, and we want to be really data driven, we want to be really experimental and experiential, and test things rather than just push them out. We know that the market for that level of technology is just starting to emerge. And there have been a lot of technologies out there with varying degrees of success and adoption. For our average client, they're just starting to become warm to the idea of bringing this technology into their home. And even then, it can't be a camera. It needs to be really, a low degree of intrusion, high degree of privacy. And that, of course, makes sense. This is not the generation that grew up with social media and cell phones and even internet. So we have to meet the market where it is. And you talked about really having the franchisee from building a sustainable and profitable business at our core. We need to bring solutions that have the ability to have traction in the market, that have the right unit economics that you can integrate into your business as primarily family funded home care. There isn't another payer that's coming in and subsidizing these things. So we want to move with a great degree of experimentation, a great degree of testing, and really bring something to the system that is well packaged, that's ready to be operationalized, and can start to differentiate you in your market, start to bring a different level of care than maybe they can find in the competition, or as that market starts to change, that we're there to answer the call for the folks that expect technology. And I don't think it will be long before we see that shift, but we have to be realistic around where the market is, and it will change in pockets. We tend to see some of those changes on the coast first. We want to be in a position to be able to bring it to answer the needs of the consumer, but not get ahead of our skis and assume that we're really going to replace human caregiving because we think it's a good idea. Our customers really speak.
Okay. So
Yeah.
thank you for that. That being said, a current trend right now out there everywhere, not only at Right at Home, not only home care, you hear it, see it everywhere, is artificial intelligence. So how does artificial intelligence, how is that incorporated in your role and what you do? And I would say the answer would be everything. But specifically, I know it's a huge part of my world. Just curious as to how artificial intelligence, how Right at Home is positioning itself to stay ahead of those trends or with those trends.
Yeah. AI is touching everything and is rapidly evolving. There's been news in the last 24 hours about a new breakthrough out of China, and that's, causing all kinds of shuffling in terms of what AI can do and how much it will cost. And again, I think about AI not in terms of replacing people and replacing jobs. I do think that it is going to be the way that we fuel and fund growth going forward. And that's kind of the paradigm that I use in my head when I think about AI. And when I like to look across the healthcare continuum because I believe that's where we play. And our opportunity to play much bigger along that continuum is real, and I'm really excited about that. But when you look at how AI is entering the healthcare realm, maybe specifically, I think huge opportunity on back office, on automation, on taking care of some of the routine tasks that are involved with keeping the business running. I think those realities are here and continue to accelerate. And we're seeing that on the larger healthcare continuum as well, whether it's billing, whether it's starting to look at things like reading images and some of the things that these technologies are really good at. We're really seeing that accelerate. I think the last place that AI will have an impact is on direct patient care, and that's just because of the relative risk and the way the healthcare system works. I think we're going to see AI moving into, again, some of these technologies around where can we help a caregiver, carry on a conversation with somebody who's one or two generations older? How can we help a caregiver prepare meals or identify, these are the ingredients that we have available. What can I make from this that is, healthy and nutritious and also fits a client with diabetes or, some other chronic condition? I think there's all kinds of things that we're going to be able to pull in and implement that are going to make the caregiver experience a lot more rich, a lot easier, and really allow us to tap, what is a really broad labor pool, and arm them with the ability to do the job well and in a really personalized fashion. Beyond that, the technology stacks that we have today, whether it's our core technology partner, WellSky, which is kind of our EMR, they're very invested in technology and AI, and how can we better match caregivers to clients? How can we match schedules? How can we give, deal with all these preferences that a caregiver and client may have? How can we identify all the unstructured data in a care plan to understand what can we do better with this client and really serve them in a unique way? What can we do around their change of condition to make sure that we're collaborating with the other healthcare partners in the continuum to say, we really need a home health visit here because there's some things that are changing in terms of demeanor or overall health of this client, and we have more exposure to these clients than almost anybody else in the healthcare continuum. Our opportunity to play bigger in terms of coordinating that care is real, and AI is only going to help us do it to a greater degree. So I see it in a lot of different ways. Again, I think it's going to enable the caregiver and client to have a richer experience, and for us to be really leverage our unique relationship inside the home over the threshold, because that's a cherished position. The time we get to spend with clients is vastly higher than anybody else, and the relationships we build with their families is really unique. So I'm bullish on it. I'm excited about it, and excited for what it means for home care in general.
Me too. Okay, thank you for that. A couple of really great questions have come in while you were answering that last question, but I do want to mention before I ask these questions, for this audience, whether you're watching this live or watching it on a recorded basis, it's people that are at various stages of the education and approval process with Right at Home. So some that may have just inquired, others that are farther along in the process. And as you know, part of our process is we do franchisee validation phone calls. So we ask you, a potential franchise owner, to pick up the phone and visit with existing franchise owners. So I'm assuming these next two questions is somebody who has visited with a current franchise owner of ours. So keep that in mind when I ask these questions. So this first question says, have you implemented Pocket RN yet? So explaining to our audience what Pocket RN is and how that will be potentially maybe part of the Right at Home system and how that works. A description would be great.
Yeah. So I'll talk about this maybe more broadly in case it's a broader question, but I think it probably gets to something really specific. But so Pocket RN is essentially a virtual nursing service that provides RN care via technology to folks in their home, and really innovative company that's really coming out of COVID and the emergence of telehealth as a really equitable care, and again, just another way to help people age in their home and stay in their home longer, and all the various benefits to the healthcare system. That's really what they do, and they do it uh, along a number of different kind of healthcare disciplines, but getting more specifically to, where is our partnership and how do we work with Pocket RN? Medicare approved a demonstration program called Guide, and it essentially brings to traditional Medicare recipients a benefit for those suffering from dementia, a wraparound group of services. So the services can be med management. They can be working specifically with dementia professionals in the area. It can be family counseling for those that are caring for a client with dementia or a family member with dementia. And it also has some supplemental benefit to pay for respite care for that family caregiver to get a break, where a caregiver, in our case, a right-at-home caregiver, can come into the home and provide that respite. So this is a demonstration program, and what that means is it's an 8-year program. So it's not just a test; it's a very long test that the Medicare administration has implemented, and we're really excited about it. It's kind of the first time that Medicare has recognized home care as part of this care continuum, and is reimbursing without us needing to be CMS certified. So so Pocket RN is piloting that program. We're their partner through this demonstration on the home care side. We're really excited about both Guide in general, and how, with the clients that we see, we can that qualify, we can bring these additional services as part of our relationship in the community to help those suffering from dementia. And we know what a toll anybody who's had a family member go through that knows what a huge impact that is for the entire family. So we're really proud of that. We're really excited about it, and Pocket RN has been a fantastic partner to in this demonstration program. We think that partnership's only going to grow, both with Guide and with other opportunities.
Okay, perfect. Thank you for that. I do want to add to that. With everything that we do here, so anything with bringing fresh new ideas, what are our different ways, new ways that we can help our franchise owners build that sustainable, profitable business. Everything is researched and vetted and tested and piloted and demonstrated, and all of those steps before an actual implementation into our system wide. So just wanted to note that, like, before we release anything, it's a process to make sure, is it the right partner? Is it the right fit? Is it going to accomplish what we want it to accomplish? Is this the best solution for our franchise owners? So there's a lot of research and development that goes into implementing a new partnership. And it sounds like that's where we are with Pocket RN.
That is correct. Yes.
Okay.
Well said.
Got it. Okay, so this next question here, also it appears that somebody that is going through franchisee validation or has spoken to one of our franchise owners. It says, will the new CRM platform provide any AI efficiencies? So it's kind of like you've got a double explanation here, Brady.
Well, these are great questions, and you guys are doing your homework during your validation. So this is awesome.
Yep.
Our CRM partner is Zoho. So for those that aren't aware, we are getting ready to implement a new CRM within the franchise system, but it's also our CRM that we'll use here internally and in our internal library hub. So, we'll really have this nice seamless technology solution across the kind of the operations both at the franchise or side, our corporate side, as well as within the franchise system. And yes, there is a tremendous amount of AI built into Zoho. And I happened to use Zoho in a previous life, and they were pretty early in terms of implementing some of that. And I'm really excited about what it can do, because we'll have all this data in a really structured fashion, and the ability to not just run reports and do analysis, but to have AI provide those things to create predictive components on top of that. Thinking about whether it's identifying a lead that comes in, and what is the likelihood that they'll close, what are the key indicators through the funnel of your business, whether you have just the care coordination or your salespeople. It will be able to develop, have some other tools and applications that will roll out over time, route management, things like that. So there'll be a tremendous amount of AI built just into the CRM that's really CRM specific. And then of course, there'll be other tools from an AI perspective that overlay, and WellSky again as our partner, having that clinical data. We're going to have a lot of opportunity to leverage a tremendous amount of data, and that's again, when I think long term about the value that we provide, and the amount of data that we have the opportunity to collect and really actualize. I think there's a lot of opportunity within home care to just play bigger.
Yes. And I can add to that as well. Being a user in the Zoho system, and even my team incorporating artificial intelligence into our process and how we use the software, my answer to that question would be absolutely yes. It will provide AI efficiencies for our franchise owners using Zoho. What specifically they are, we couldn't even possibly cover all of them, because it's going to continue to grow. So the answer is very enthusiastically, yes, 100% it will. Okay, so another question came in. Let me read it to you here. It says, can a franchisee implement a new program on their own, or does it need to be approved by corporate? For example, providing concierge services to clients.
Yep, that's a great question, and I'll have the caveat, and this is a caveat Jen can speak to well. Of course, everything that you do needs to fit within the purview of the franchise agreement and scope of services. So, that caveat aside, and concierge is a really good example, and one that is timely, because we do have offices providing concierge care, and that may differ in different markets, but in general, it's kind of a differentiated and maybe a little bit more hands-on or coordinated care that is occurring. And yes, your ability to run your business and to do some of these things, so long as they fit within the guidelines of scope of practice and the franchise agreement, are always there for you to develop and test. And I think this gets into maybe some of the things that I'm most proud of here at Right at Home, and how we work with our franchisees. Our strategic leadership council is made up of appointed and elected franchisees across the network. We have task forces that that are formed, that are part of this vetting and testing and piloting community. But we're always looking for ideas from the system. The franchisees are closer to the business than I'll ever be. We go to them for feedback on ideas that we have, but a lot of those ideas bubble up from the franchise system. And, we're here to support and nurture those ideas. How do we, maybe test them in different markets? How do we refine them? And I have a small innovation team that's, really, that's their focus. How do we remove complexity from the business operations? How do we enhance the products and services that we provide, and make them scalable and expandable across the network? So hopefully that was the kind of the answer specific to what the question was geared toward. But concierge care is a perfect example of that.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. All right, so let's talk a little bit about strategy. Let's look ahead to it's January 2025. We have a whole year ahead of us now. So in terms of growth, innovation, partnerships, what's in store for 2025?
2025 is going to be another big year. We've had a bunch of big years, and we just we won't rest on our laurels. I think we talked about a couple of the things. So RightAssist and bringing that technology enabled care. We've done a lot of testing and piloting. Now we need to get that packaging and put a bow on it and build the training and the collateral around how do we take this from a conceptual idea or pilot to implementing in your business if you so choose. That's going to be a big piece here the first part of the year, getting ready for home improvement, and when all our franchisees will come together and we really get to celebrate the year and focus on how we're going to be more impactful in the next several years to come. We're really focused on what are some ways that we can engage the caregiver and what are some of the needs that the caregiver, who are, let's face it, they're the ultimate remote workforce. How can we make sure that we can build culture, communication, make their jobs easier, give them timely information at their fingertips? What are the things that are valuable from that perspective, and what things maybe aren't? And make sure that we really ask and understand from their perspective what they need. We're going to continue, on the vein of concierge care. What are some other maybe markets or other segments of the population that could benefit from aspects of what we do in home care? Maybe not, the personal care, the full support of activities of daily living. But what might folks that are not in need of that care, how could we maybe provide some services to them and open up a new market? And then we're also just really looking at what are the things that we can do to make it easier, more effective to run your business and make sure that you can do it in a sustainable and profitable fashion. So that's kind of that innovation at the core. So we're excited. Of course, we've got CRM coming. We've got AI that continues to develop and evolve, and will have a huge impact on us. But I think we organizationally are on a great trajectory. We're going to double down a lot of the stuff that's working. We're going to try new stuff that doesn't work, and we're going to let it go. And we're really going to lean into the stuff that we do well and making sure that we're maximizing utilization.
Okay, awesome. Thank you. Another question came in, and as I'm reading it,
Yep.
I think I would like to answer this question. You can certainly take a stab at it, but let me read it and then we'll decide. But I'm pretty sure you're going to say, Jen, take this one off my hands. Here's what it says. Are there opportunities to pursue a franchise area that is not listed on your availability website if there is not another franchise in that area?
Take it away, Jen.
Okay, so what this question is referring to, if you go to our franchise website, which is rightatHomeFranchise.com, there's a tab that you can click on that says available territories. That then produces a map that will show you all of the territories that are available for purchase in the United States. You can go to a specific state and see what's available and what's not. So this specific question, and let me know, whoever asked this question, if I don't answer it accurately. Sometimes we have unmapped areas of the United States where you can inquire to say, hey, I see this area right here isn't mapped and I don't see a territory mapped. Is there an existing franchise owner, or are you willing to explore mapping a territory in this area? So we can certainly look into that. Sometimes there are unmapped areas where we will consider mapping an area, but usually those areas that are unmapped are places where it's, a large desert or a swamp or a big iceberg in the middle of, North Dakota, right? So, but we're certainly open to mapping unmapped areas if it makes sense. Also, don't forget, we do have a confidential list of resale opportunities. So that could be an option if there isn't an available territory in the area that you're looking for. You can ask your development director if there are any existing franchise owners interested in selling in that area. That is also an option as well. So hopefully that answered your question. See, Brady, I think that you could have answered that question just fine.
No, it was a pleasure to watch you do it. My goodness. No
okay. So we've got 1 minute left. Knowing that the audience that's listening right now, they're interested in potentially joining the Right at Home system, do you have a piece of advice for our listeners on who are trying to decide if this is the right fit for them or not?
Yeah, I think one is home care, and I think it's a fascinating industry. I think I'm sure everybody understands the opportunity with all the tailwinds that exist, and it is a really great way to build a great living, a great transferable business, and have a lot of impact in what you do. That said, it is not easy. And I, coming into this industry, I was like, okay, I get it. It's, client caregiver. It is really complex. It's really dynamic. And you're dealing with people on both the client side and the employee side in large volume. You really want to understand and soul search around your ability to manage that every day. So that's home care, I think, kind of in a nutshell. And I think with Right at Home, don't listen to what we say. Watch our feet. See what we do. See how we behave. See how we engage. See how we treat each other. I think that's the reason I'm a part of this organization, is because of the people. I know everybody says what makes you different. It's the people. I believe it really is a unique place to work, and that culture really oddly and surprisingly bleeds into our franchise system, and I think it is really the difference. So if you're not sure if this is the right place for you, it probably isn't. But I really believe that those that pick Right at Home, it's because they felt it early on, they felt it throughout the process, and especially in those validation calls. I think I'm really proud of how objective our franchisees are about them. We just spent a couple days with them with our president's retreat trip, and we don't do everything right by any means, but I think we really try to fix it when we screw it up, and try to live by our word every day. And I think that's just who we are. So if that fits you and your ethos, we'd love to have you. And I really and expect big things out of everybody in this group if they decide to enter home care.
Yes. Okay. Brady, this has been great. Let me tell you what we did here over the course of the past 30 minutes. We talked about growth and expansion. We talked about innovation. We talked about support for franchisees. We talked about market trends, technology integration. We talked about franchisee feedback, the importance of that, and future plans for Right at Home. So I feel like this was a well-rounded conversation with audience participation.
If that's what you signed up for,
yes.
This was the place.
So thank you for taking the time. I appreciate you, and I know that our listeners do as well. So thanks again.
Right. Good luck, everybody.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, bye.